Alright, so here are our players. We have on the left Ron Bearns. He is playing Mardu midrange. On the right is Peter Yang. He is playing a 4-color deck, which he has labeled just 4-color stuff. So let's take a quick look through the deck lists here. We'll start with the more traditional Mardu deck. We've got 4 Goblin Rabble Master, 4 Butcher the Horde, 4 Stormbreath Dragon. And then in the Planeswalkers, we have 2 Elspeth, 1 Sarkhan, 1 Lily, and 1 Chandra. And then spells, we have 4 Thoughtseize, 3 Lightning Strike, 2 Murderous Cut, 3 Hero's Downfall, 3 Read the Bones, and 2 Mardu Charm. For Peter Yang's 4-color deck, we have a Dig Through Time, 3 Ashiok, 3, I believe, Fleecemane Lion, 4 Sylvan Caryatid, 4 Courser of Krufix, 3 Abzan Charm, 3 Reaper of the Wilds, 3 Siege Rhino, 1 Sorin Solemn Visitor, 1 Utter, and 2 Wingmate Rock, 2 Elspeth Sun's Champion, 4 Heroes Downfall, 1 Whip of Erebos, and 1 Polychronos to round out Peter's 4-color list. Looks like it is base Abzan touching black for touching blue, excuse me, for Dig Through Time and for Ashiok. So we'll take a look here at what is going on. Looks like Peter led off with a Scryland. Ron had a Tri-land on the play. Ron is now going to resolve a Thoughtseize, and he is going to take the most terrifying card in the hand, even though Peter has no mana to cast it, which is Ashiok. Ashiok, of course, a big problem for many decks to deal with adequately. Also, if there is an echo, please let me know. We do have another headset on over there, but I'm trying to keep it covered up. So Ron is going to lead off with a second Tri-land in the Mardu colors. He is going to ship the turn. Peter is going to make a very quick scry to the bottom. It looks like he is looking for land, but has found a replacement Ashiok. So Ron is now going to play another Thoughtseize, and he is going to look at the exact same hand that he just looked at before. Ashiok has been picked up once again by Peter. We'll see if Ron decides to go after that, or if he decides to cut off the potential mana fixer in Courser of Krufix. Peter does need to draw a land to play the Courser. He needs to draw 2 different colors of mana in order to play Ashiok. See Ron's hand right now. He has Mardu Charm, Butcher the Horde, Stormbreath Dragon, and I believe another land. He is now going to go after Courser of Krufix, which I definitely believe is the correct line when Peter is stuck on mana, and he is quite far away from casting Ashiok. Well, there is a bug Tri-land, so that is going to give Peter both blue and black mana. Unfortunately, it's not going to give him 2 iterations of each, so Ashiok is still not going to be able to be cast yet. But Peter has to be happy to have found at least another land. See if Ron decides to just jam this Butcher the Horde. He knows Peter's hand right now, so pretty sure that Peter cannot remove it yet. Looks like he's going to be patient. He wants to make sure that he is going to get value. It looks like Ron is going to, in draw step, cast a Mardu Charm for the Duress effect in the draw step of Peter. So now he's going to get to see what Peter drew. And it would appear that it was a second copy of Abzan Charm. So Ron here is simply trying to make sure Peter didn't draw blue mana for this Ashiok. And if he did, or blue or black mana, I suppose, if he did draw the requisite mana for Ashiok, then he would easily take it. It looks like he's going to go after one of the Abzan Charms, because Peter is able to use those as draw 2 effects. And looks like he is just going to go straight to that. Yeah, so there is the draw 2 cards, lose 2 life from Peter. Peter is going to fall to 18 here. His life dice is not currently updated. And, okay, so there we go, yeah, so. Alright, so here is another land for Ron, and I believe we're just going to see Stormbreath run out here. There is the dragon. So now, the Stormbreath is going to allow Ron to threaten the potential Ashiok coming out of Peter's deck, which Peter is now able to cast, worth noting. There's another tri-land for Peter in the bug colors, but it looks like Peter not going to run out the Ashiok here. He knows it's not going to get value so long as this dragon is in play. Alright, so here is an attack. You see Peter has a hero's downfall, and he is going to fire that off on the dragon. Does not want to let that thing continue to go to work. It looks like Ron is going to now tap 4 mana. I think Ron is making sure that he doesn't have to pay any life. He does not, so there is Butcher the Horde. Of course, Urborg allows him to tap one of those pain lands for just simply black mana. There's an Abzan tri-land. Here comes Ashiok. This is interesting timing for the Ashiok here. 2 lands and a lightning strike milled by it. Because this Butcher the Horde, if Peter has no way to get rid of it, does just threaten to kill Ashiok right away. Here's Goblin Rabblemaster, the draw for Ron. Deemed by some to be one of the most broken cards in the standard format right now. The card is completely absurd and not remotely reasonable in any way, shape, or form. So here is the Rabblemaster. Alright, so it looks like Ron is going to send the Butcher of the Horde, unsurprisingly, towards the Ashiok, and then the Goblin token goes towards Peter. Now, Peter needs a way to remove this Rabblemaster right away, or it is going to cause him some serious problems. He can, for the time being, play an Elspeth. And, okay, so it looks like he's going to play Elspeth, removing Butcher of the Horde. I believe he has a backup Elspeth in his hand, but I'm not 100% on that. I know he has Reaper of the Wilds and Sylvan Caryatid. And I believe... No, I'm not... No, I don't know the other card right now. Might be 2 Reapers, actually. Does he have 2 Reapers in his list? Let me see. He has 3 Reapers in his list, so it could very easily be more Reapers. So Ron now needs to make a decision on what he wants to do with this Rabble-Dad. The obvious line, I think, is for, you know, 1 Goblin to go towards the Elspeth. But here is another Butcher of the Horde. And this is a big problem for Peter right now. So 1 towards Elspeth, 8 towards Peter. And this is where you really see the synergy between Butcher of the Horde and Goblin Rabblemaster. Just feeding the Butcher, giving it haste. And we're probably going to see a game 2 very shortly. This Mardu mid-range deck is very refined, very powerful in what it does. Looks like, so land, Caryatid, Reaper, Peter trying to see if he has any way out of this Butcher. I don't think he does in hand. Oh, that is another Elspeth. But the the problem is that Peter cannot deploy 2 spells this turn. He can deploy Elspeth and knock out Butcher the Horde, but then he dies to Goblin Rabblemaster and its tokens. He could play it and make tokens to get in front of Rabblemaster, but the Butcher is also then representing lethal damage. So either way, Peter is going to die. And Peter is going to scoop him up and concede game number 1. Ron Bearns is going to take a 1-0 lead with Mardu midrange over the 4-color midrange deck that Peter Yang is currently piloting. So now we'll take a look at the sideboards to see what each player has access to. We'll start with Peter's 4-color deck, as he is going to be on the play this game, and he is currently down a game. We have 2 copies of Negate, 2 Sultai Charm, 3 Disdainful Stroke, 1 Silence the Believers, 1 End Hostilities, 1 Villainous Wealth, 3 Drown in Sorrow, 1 Whip of Erebus, and a Phyrexian Revoker for Peter's 4-color deck. So now we'll take a look at Ron's, see what he has access to. 2 Bioblight, 2 Crackling Doom, 2 Magma Spray, 1 Hero's Downfall, 2 Glare of Heresy, 1 Dark Betrayal, 1 Erase, and 2 Anger of the Gods. So lots of interesting options. Peter is probably going to be looking towards... let's have a look. Disdainful Stroke is quite good against this Mardu deck, the exception to that being it's bad against Goblin Rabblemaster. Silence the Believers is a fine card to have. Villainous Wealth potentially, although that's bad against a Rabblemaster draw. Revoker is quite good. He didn't really see any Planeswalkers out of Ron that game, but of course we know that Ron is relatively Planeswalker heavy. So yeah, those cards, and the Sultai Charm, there might be an argument for kills Rabblemaster, and it kills Dragon. So there could be some options. Yeah, we always try to have commentary when we can. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, everybody tuning in to the Midgard Gaming Invitational. This is our 4th Invitational that we have held so far. I'll be bringing you coverage right through day 1 of the event. So so I'll break down the format as well, because of course many of our viewers probably wouldn't be familiar with the format. The format is it's similar to the way that Star City is doing their Players' Championship, actually. The way that it works is that we're starting off, the players are broken up into 4 pods. It's a 16-player tournament. And they are going to play a round robin within their pod. So there's 4 players to a pod, so each person will play the others. The person with the highest record at the end of it, so the 3-0, if there's a 3-0, they will get an automatic bye into the top 8 draft, which is going to be happening tomorrow. All of the remaining players are then going to have to play Modern. And I believe the Modern is being run at double elimination. Am I correct on that? Double elimination for Modern. And so then that will determine the final 4 slots that get awarded for our top 8 draft, which is going to be run tomorrow. And then the winner of that will be our Invitational Champion. Of course, we have a plaque here at Midgard Gaming. 3 names currently on that plaque. Past champions, Matt Murphy, who is playing in this event as well. Larry Buzan. And myself. The 3 former champions. And unfortunately, due to, of course, constraints based on work, I was unable to play the event, because if I made day 2, I would not be able to show up, because my work would get very mad at me. But that's it. I am here now to bring you guys some coverage of some awesome Magic. So it'll be interesting to see what the players have done for game number 2. Of course, Peter going to be on the play. He's going to need to have a little bit of a better draw than he had in game 1. Of course, he got a little bit screwed over on his mana in game 1. So he is definitely going to hope to improve on that. Ashiaki is best on turn 3. So I see a couple of lands in Peter's hand, including a Llanowar Waste and a Sultai Tri-land. So if he has the Ashiok for turn 3, he will be able to cast it, presuming he has other sources of mana. We'll see what Ron has over there. I see Chandra and Elspeth at least. Looks like he's going to open on a Thoughtseize. Alright, so it looks like Peter has got 4 lands, in fact. A Disdainful Stroke and 2 Courser of Crufix. So it'll be quite interesting to see what Ron takes here. That Disdainful Stroke, of course, is going to be a little bit of an irritant. Otherwise, he could remove one of the Coursers. Ron is pretty in the tank about this. I see a Chandra, a couple of Elspeths, and it looks like a couple of lands in his hand, so not actually a fantastic draw that Ron has here. Looks like he is just going to go ahead and take one of the Courser of Crufix. And there's a good draw for Peter in the form of Sylvan Caryatid. Ron still with perfect information of the contents of Peter's hand. Looks like he picks up a Caves of Colas for his turn. Bloodstained Mire going to be the play. So now it looks like Peter is going to start off with Courser of Crufix. Right, so a little bit of a misstep on Peter's part. So, of course, Peter forgot to immediately reveal, which would have allowed him to play the Llanowar Waste off the top of his deck. He is instead just going to scry it to the bottom. Not actually a huge deal, as we see Sandsteep Citadel, the Abzan Tri-land, move to the top of the deck. So unfortunately, Peter knows he is just drawing a land next turn. So it looks like Ron is going to sacrifice Bloodstained Mire, probably going to get a mountain off of that. There is a basic mountain for Ron, Stargate Mountain as it is known. Probably my favorite of the Zendikar lands. Looks like Ron has picked up a Goblin Rabblemaster for the turn, which is a good card, of course. So yeah, so the Goblin Rabblemaster token came into play, was declared as an attacker because it had to attack, and of course Courser Crufix just kind of sat in front of that. Peter is going to play a Llanowar Waste off the top, gain another life, and now the top of his deck is going to show a Nyx Fleece Ram. So I believe Peter currently only sitting with Disdainful Stroke in his hand. Peter now, I believe, has passed the turn. Ron is taking a look at a hand of Battlefield Forge, Chandra, 2 Elspeth, and a Hero's Downfall. We'll see if this is a turn where he decides to odd Peter's draw step, Hero's Downfall the Courser, or if he is simply going to try and pull Disdainful Stroke with his Chandra. So it'll be interesting to see what Ron decides to go with here. It looks like he is tapping 4 mana, taking a damage. Here is Chandra. And you see Ron is saying, "Is this getting stroked?" Peter is like, yes. Disdainful Stroke has gotten rid of it. Here's a Goblin attack, there's a Courser block, and there's a pass of the turn. Courser of Crewfix doing a very good job at holding off the Goblin Rabblemaster. One of the very big plus sides to playing Courser of Crewfix in the deck is that it is very good versus the Rabbledad. So it looks like Courser of Crewfix is going to come across with an attack here. Peter is now planning to play Fleecemane Lion. There that is. I believe Stormbreath Dragon was the draw for turn. So we'll see now if Ron wants to play that. It looks like he's going to do what I figure, which is Hero's Downfall on the Fleecemane Lion. Here comes an attack with the Rabblemaster and the token. The token is going to be blocked. Rabblemaster is going to get across for 3 points of damage. Looks like Courser of Crewfix is going to reveal a Scryland to Peter. We'll see if Peter is going to deploy Courser 2. It looks like he is, before playing the land. So there is the Courser. Here's a Scryland. Peter is going to gain 2 points of life up to 22. He is going to scry Whip of Erebos and probably going to keep that on top. So we'll see now if Rabblemaster can beat through this army of Coursers. We know it cannot. However, Stormbreath Dragon goes over the top of them pretty nicely. And so here's a ping. Here's a dragon. Stormbreath Dragon. So it looks like we're going to see Rabblemaster make a Goblin. At some point, I'm going to probably get Larry to come over and completely explain how this tournament is completely structured. There are some intermittent details that that I might not know. So it looks like Ron is finally ready to trade off Goblin Rabblemaster with a Courser of Crewfix. And, of course, one Goblin got blocked by a Courser. And Dragon got across for 4 points. There's a Sultai Charm. So that is going to be considered his out to this Stormbreath Dragon. But the problem that he's going to face is that Ron is going to be able to just jam an Elspeth this turn. And Elspeth does things. There's Whip of Erebus. See, Peter's going to play a Scryland, and he's going to say, I am definitely keeping the Sultai Charm on the top of the deck. Across comes Courser of Crewfix. Peter going to go to 21 because of the Whip of Erebus giving lifelink. And now Peter is going to pass the turn to Ron. So here is the dragon coming across for 4 points, knock Peter to 17, and now we're just going to see point of damage taken by Ron. Here is Elsbeth, the Sun's champion, the 6-drop planeswalker that has been seeing a immense amount of play in the standard format since she was introduced. And now Ron is going to start generating a few tokens. Peter's going to find another land off the top of his deck with the Courser. And it looks like he is activating his Whip of Erebus to bring back a Courser. Temple is going to be scryed to the bottom. Of course, this allows extra life gain for Peter. Looks like the players are debating it's something to do with the Courser of Krufik's life gain, but of course, the way that Peter did line it up, the Courser of Krufix is going to trigger. Of course, all 3 triggers are going to go onto the stack at the same time. Peter chooses how to order them. Whip of Erebos, of course, yes, is tapped for the Courser of Krufix reanimation. So we'll see if Peter decides to try and go after this Elspeth or go after Ron. Ron is only at 10. He's done quite a bit of damage to himself off these pain lands in his mana base. Wouldn't surprise me to see him just go after the Elspeth. There that is. Probably going to see some blocks here. There is a couple of blocks. Now Courser of Krufix going to be exiled. We see 4 points of life gained by Mr. Peter. Peter is at, yes, 23 points of life now. Because, of course, the 2 off of the Courser of Krufix put him to 19, and then the 4 off the Courser's attacking. So now he's just going to ship the turn to Ron. Ron is going to take a draw. I believe it was another copy of Stormbreath Dragon, which is kind of absurd. So it looks like Ron is going to dish out a couple more soldier tokens. See what Ron opts to go with here. Looks like he's leading on a Thoughtseize. There, that is. We are going to see, in response, the Sultai Charm. Because, of course, Ron was aware that the Sultai Charm was present, so he didn't run this other dragon into it. Here comes the dragon. Looks like Ron is now just going to pass the turn. Whip of Erebos is going to whip back another Courser of Krufix. Peter has drawn a lot of Coursers this game. Here is a swamp. There is some life gain. Peter's gonna swing in Elspeth. Ron's just like, it doesn't matter where you're attacking, I'm blocking. Looks like Peter's just going to say go. Drown in Sorrow on the top of his deck, which is pretty good at dealing with Elspeth tokens. Mana Confluence was the draw for Ron. He is just going to put that into play. Would appear that Elspeth is going to take up. She is now threatening her ultimate. Ron is also threatening a monstrous on the Stormbreath Dragon, however, though Peter, I believe, is empty-handed, so the only extra damage would be from the counters, but that is still probably worth doing if Peter doesn't have anything else to do with his mana. And here we see the monstrous take place. Stormbreath Dragon now a 7/7. 7/7 flyer, of course. Ron is lining up for some attacks. I think Ron is just trying to confirm how many soldiers he has that can attack. So here comes Stormbreath Dragon plus the soldiers, so this is going to be an attack that is going to hit Peter for 9. Peter is going to take a draw. There is an Elspeth of his own for Peter. Imagine we're just going to see this Drown in Sorrow popped off here. I don't think you want to let Elspeth ultimate with her tokens in play. That seems pretty bad. So the problem for Ron right now, actually, although Ron is an active Elspeth, this Elspeth from Peter is causing him a little bit of problems. I mean, it's a very clean-cut answer to Stormbreath Dragon, which currently is Ron's primary source of pressure, because the Elspeth is covered. So I think Peter is trying to figure out how he has to sequence this. I think he's come to the conclusion he has to cast the Drown in Sorrow before reanimating the Fleecemane Lion, which is correct. Here comes a Whip of Erebus activation. There is Fleecemane Lion. That is going to crash in for 3 at the Elspeth. Peter's going to go back up to 19 from that. Looks like Ron is going to scry something to the bottom. Elspeth going to take up, make some more tokens. Now the dragon is going to crash in and knock Peter down to 12. So of course he didn't update his life dice from his Fleecemane Lion's lifelink. He did, however, update it on his life pad. So 12 is his correct life total currently. Reaper of the Wilds is the card on top for Peter. That is also a pretty reasonable card. So here is Elspeth, the Sun's champion, which is going to, very unsurprisingly, blow up that dragon. Peter cannot have that thing get out of hand. So now he's just going to ship the turn to Ron, who's going to draw his card, tick up his Elspeth. Looks like Ron is lining up a little bit of mana. Is this a Rabble Master? No, it is a Read the Bones. So Ron's life total going to get dangerously low here. He is going to drop to 5. So it looks like Ron's life dice was off from the life pads. So Ron was in fact at 8 before casting this Read the Bones. So he's going to drop to 6. One of the glitches with using the dice, but it's the most efficient and easiest way for us to do this. Looks like Ron is going to tap 3 mana, takes damage. This is going to be a Hero's Downfall targeting Courser of Crufix, and now he's going to knock the Elspeth out. Alright, so Ron is now currently winning the Elspeth race. Of course, he knows that Peter drew Reaper of the Wilds for the turn. So it appears we're seeing a second Courser played. Actually, that's Courser number 4 at this point. Oh, sorry, no. That was a whip back. My apologies on that. Did not notice the whip tap. That is, in fact, a reanimated Course of Crufix with Whip of Erebos. Okay, so it would appear that the Sultai Charm is going to be the top card revealed for Peter. He's going to gain 2 points of life here because of a Courser attack. The problem currently is that Peter has no good way to pressure Ron's Elspeth, and he's not drawing his outs to it. He currently has Sultai Charm on top of his deck, which is a combination of Ultimate Price. What is that card name that I'm... Naturalized, there we go. And draw 2, discard 1, which I don't remember the name of a card that's specific to that right now. Here comes an Elspeth Plus. 3 more dudes jumping in. And this is looking very, very grim for Peter, especially if this is a Butcher of the Horde, which it is. There is the Butcher of the Horde. See if Ron decides to sack one of his many tokens to give that thing haste. Oh, okay. I've just been handed the bracket system for the way this works. Okay. Right. Alright. I'll make sense out of this chart that Larry gave me very shortly. It's actually not that complicated, but it looks complicated on the paper, that's all. Okay, so back to the match right now that we have in progress. The Butcher of the Horde did get in for 5 points of damage. Did not catch if Peter remembered his scry triggers or not. That trigger is forgotten almost as much as the Soldier of the Pantheon's life gain trigger. The only difference is that the Soldier of the Pantheon saw a ton of standard play, as where Reaper saw quite limited standard play. Reaper attack. Reaper get chumped. There is a scry, and it looks like Peter wants to keep it on top. Peter should gain 4 points of life there. We'll see what Peter has to cast there now. So now he's going... Yeah, okay, so Lifelink, of course, is not a trigger. It is not something that can be missed. It is a static, game-based thing. And it looks like Downfall is going to take out the Elspeth before it ultimates. Unfortunately for Peter, Ron has a backup Elspeth in his hand, and oh, he has another dragon too. My god. Draw for turn, I believe, was a Glare of Heresy. That doesn't do very much right now. Here is the second Elspeth. It looks like Ron is thinking about taking down the Elspeth. He is, of course, going to have to attack with his Butcher first, if his plan is to kill Reaper the Wilds this turn. And so it looks like, yeah, Ron is not doing anything with the Elspeth currently. He is going to full attack. So this is going to be 8 points coming across to Peter, which is going to knock him to 5. And now Ron is going to ship a turn. See if Peter draws anything of consequence to get in the way here. Looks like he's delving some cards. It looks like he found a dig through time. Seven cards are coming. Peter's going to take 2 of them. It looks like he's got a Hero's Downfall. And I see an Abzan Charm there, which he has also pulled out. There's a lot of land in that. Alright, here is some mana being tapped. Downfall on Elspeth. No more of that. Thank you. Unfortunately, Peter doesn't know it yet, but he is currently staring at lethal. I'm pretty sure even by putting the counters onto his caryatids, he would be unable to break through. And the problem here is that if he activates the Llanowar Waste for mana in order to put counters on his dudes right now with the Abzan Charm, instead of just letting Ron take it, he puts himself in lethal range of the dragon. And now Peter's going to go to 4. Those guys get counters. Ron is going to say, that's nice. And there is the dragon. And that is going to do it. So Peter Yang is going to concede the game. Ron Bearns, the Mardu mid-range deck. Looks like the players are discussing the board state right now, discussing what could have been done. Either way, Peter was going to end up on the lethal